they started drug testing for like street drugs. So of course nobody could smoke weed anymore. So then they all decided to become alcoholics. And
On.
and Tavon could never like finish the last couple of minutes of a game. Not always, but like towards the end of the season. And one day I was like, I think I realized why you keep cramping. I think it's all your alcohol consumption. And he's lying on the table and he goes, are you going to tell me not to drink? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm going to tell you how to drink. Okay, so today's guest is Tavon. He was my basketball athlete. He graduated 2020, right? So I have to say it was very hard picking what athlete I was going to ask to do this because we were talking about bringing an athlete on, and he's part of the group of guys that were my favorite. And every athlete ever watching this will be upset that I said that, but they were definitely a good group of guys. Their chemistry and everything was off the chart, and I really enjoyed it. And 2020 was so sad when everything ended because it ended. They were about to go to regionals and everybody was ready to get on the bus. And then it was like, nope, school shut down, everybody go home. And it was quite depressing. But these guys definitely taught me a lot. And we wanted to bring him on today to talk to an athlete and just get kind of what the cultural perspective is on an athlete's journey, you know, from youth sports all the way to competitive collegiate athletics and how that influenced and shaped you as a person. And why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself outside of sports, just you in general.
Well, thanks for having me first. My name is Tavon. I was a former basketball player. I definitely graduated, got my degree from Dominican University, and now have my CDL and also a business owner. My clothing line is called Bindiff Collection. And after that, there's not much to do. I mean, I'm just somebody who's trying to be a vocal leader, a role model for the next generation coming up. So this is a great opportunity for me to, you know, kind of like give my word to the next generation or just give my perspective on things so people can, you know that they can do things on their own, in their own right, and be great at it. So
What is your clothing line again?
a Bindiff Collection.
Spell that.
BENDIFF collection.
Okay. You'll put that little plug there.
My website is bindiffcollection.com, so you'll be able to catch everything.
No worries. I got you.
Appreciate it.
So how did your background influence your experience in youth or sports?
Well, everything was for me, basketball was everything. It's everything I've known growing up. Since I was born, my dad had a basketball in my hand, so I already knew that I was going to play basketball. My dad actually played baseball and basketball. My grandfather played baseball. My great uncle played baseball. My cousins played basketball. So it's something I was going to do for sure. My brother was somebody that I followed growing up. He was my role model. He actually went to Dominican University as well and graduated.
He was my athlete too.
Yeah. So it was something that I was always going to do. I was fortunate enough to have parents that were handy. My dad is very handy, taught me and my brother to be as well. And we built a basketball court in my backyard. So I have one right now. It's been there since probably fourth grade. I was young. I've always had a court, you know, a basketball hoop or a basketball, something to play. And there was something I knew I was going to do every single day. And once I got the opportunity to have my hoops up and the lights out and everything like that, I was there from the morning until the night. It was like my parents were calling me. My mom was calling me inside to come inside. It was raining. No, you know, it'd be a tornado outside. I'm like, I'm outside playing basketball. So I always knew I was going to do that. And that really just shaped everything. There was nothing else for me to do besides go to school and play basketball. I was fortunate enough to have a great experience where I found sponsors to, you know, sponsor my training. Basketball court, I had friends. My brother had friends, so I was always playing. My cousin played. I was surrounded by some of like the best athletes on Long Island and New York. So it was something that was just like that was given to me that I just took control of, and I was able to be really good at it.
Who were those athletes that you speak of?
There's so many. One first and foremost, my brother, Khalid.
Okay. Yeah.
He was obviously every single day, me and him are battling in the backyard. Then you have, I'm from Brentwood, New York. So one that was prominent in our time was JJ Moore. He's play against each other. There are two guys that I never got to play against, but I was around. There's Tobias Harris, who is in the NBA. and Danny Green. I played against his brother Devontae growing up. So those were the highest talents that were coming out. Then you had guys like Jesse Govan and Nick Richards who are in the NBA. Just
Hmm.
right Foreman. Like there's so many different names people I can name. One of my closest friends, Femi Olujibi, he plays I think in the Philippines right now, and he's overseas. One of my closest friends from Dominican, Jason Cotman, he's playing. So like there was a lot of people that I was always surrounded with that were able to make great careers out of playing basketball. So I was lucky enough to be around these people and grow my game as well to become like a champion. That's something
Nice.
I was part of the 2019-2020 team that won the first conference championships, and we went back to back at Dominican. So I was very fortunate to be a part of those experiences.
Wow. Sounds like you were surrounded by a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop. I'm still surrounded by it, and I try to get away from it as well. I
Mm.
retired here, moved to New Jersey, and everybody still calls me, and it's like even today, guys are like, "Are you playing in this park? And can you come to the park and play
Mhm.
here? Summer league or this winter league?" And it's like I can't get away from it.
Mhm.
Yeah, even coaching, training, something I've done, and my name gets put into everybody's phone, and it's like, can you please, can you please, can you please? So it's like,
Oh.
stop.
I love that.
Well, I love
Melly?
that. I hear your passion. It's very obvious, like you were very passionate about it. Can you tell us a little more about your experience with youth basketball playing and then like kind of lead us into your experience playing college ball?
So youth basketball started. We had a BYA, which is like a local league. We had CYO, which was a church league. That was very big. These are all like just like little youth leagues that we played against, like local kids that we grew up playing against. It helped me develop a lot of friendships. I was surrounded by people every single weekend or week. So I'm seeing the same people over and over again. It developed rivalries, so people that didn't or wanted to. You saw these people every single weekend or every single week just going to the same places. We had Island Garden, which was like a big, it's where the ABA, I want to say the Nets played. So Julius Irving played there. So we would play there almost every single week, like I said. And so there was constant practice, constant training, and then constant games every single summer. Even during the school year, it was just nonstop. It was never a break. I never had any time for anything else but going to school and playing basketball. I had video games, but I was a person that was like, my brother would be playing and I'd be outside or I'd be dribbling. I was the kid that was dribbling in my parents' house at 1 o'clock in the morning and everybody's trying to sleep. I'm bouncing the ball. So I had definitely a lot of time on my hands and I used it to just play basketball as much as I could. I just loved, my whole goal was to make a name for my family. I just wanted to be the best I could. And, as a young kid, my family always told me I was the best player in our families. From there on, I was like, I already won, so I could just, do this for myself. But that was always my goal, was always to like make a name for my family. My last name is Ginyard. People say it wrong a lot, but I wanted to make it prominent so people could say it properly, so that it could be remembered as a legacy. I loved playing anywhere. One thing that's always was my brother. He played football in middle school. Random sport. I mean, he never we never played football. It was just like he wanted to try. He was really good at it, so he played football. And one day he got laid out really bad, and he was like arms up in the air, like he couldn't breathe. And I was just like, I never want to get hurt. I
No.
get hurt. So playing in the park was like always scared for me. I like hardwood. That's it. I could just play on a hardwood floor, and that was easy for me to do. Even though I got hurt doing that too, but it was just made my mind at ease. Being that I'm not gonna hit concrete or anything like that.
So before you tell us about college, I want to ask you what lessons or what experiences shaped you in the youth sports? Like what kind of lessons did you learn? Because I hear your passion, but like what else do you feel you got out of it? Because, I can relate in a sense where I'm a youth sport mom, a baseball mom, travel mom. And everything you're saying, my sons, especially one of them in particular, is so passionate and like he barely plays video games. He's in the back and his batting cage and like just playing, fielding after a doubleheader, and just that's where the passion is. And I'm hearing that in you. So tell me a little bit about like, especially with the team and the teams you've played on, like what kind of life lessons do you feel you learned?
Many. So first thing I want to say is, I as a young kid, I idolized LeBron James. I studied his game, and there's still a lot of like things that people say about him, but the positive that I took from him is that he wanted to win, and he was a pass first scorer. That was one thing that I took from him that I tried to put into my game. As I got older, one of my favorite memories is 2008 when the Boston Celtics won the championship. And their coach, Doc Rivers, his motto was Ubuntu, which is "and because we are." So basically, that in order for us, basically in short terms, it's like in order for us to be at our best, I have to be my best, and basically that will trickle down to the next person. So that was one of the things that I always stuck with me because I always want my team to win, no matter what I'm doing. Even if I'm at work, I never am a selfish person. I try to make sure that I'm doing my best so that the team could be at their best. I always felt like if I wasn't doing my best, then it gave opportunity for the next person not to be their best. So that was like probably the biggest thing that I took away from everything. Was always like just trying to be the best I could at everything. And then as I got older, one of my favorite, experiences of being at college was one of my teammates, Ian Gardner. He became a pro athlete in his senior year, which was my junior year. He was the most consistent person on our team. And I give a lot of credit to him. He showed all of us, I'll say for myself, definitely showed me that in order to be a pro, you have to be consistent. My dad, his father, go to work every single day. You got to be consistent in order to carry your family. So consistency is the number one thing. And number two thing that I would say I took away from everything, just making sure that I go to work every single day, or I put my best self out there every single day. And that after a certain amount of time, things will compound and I'll become the best thing that I can be at the end, which is why, Sam could say I probably had my best year ever playing basketball my senior year, because I prioritized, being in the gym every single day, having a good mindset on my head every single day, being happy. That was another thing. You got to be happy. People often they go through a lot of experiences where they're just going through them and they're not happy. And that's the third thing that I took away from everything. I have to be happy in order to do all those things. If I'm not happy, then it's not going to work out properly. She got a visual of when I wasn't happy on the court and how things turned out for me as well. So when I was happy, we were winning, everything was good. When I wasn't happy, I wasn't on the court, So those things stuck to me throughout my career, even to today. Again, with my clothing brand, it's something I'm putting out into the world. It's like every single day, I have to be my best for the next generation. Whoever sees this will be able to know that they can do it as well. See, and then being happy. Those are things I took away from the sport.
So all that discipline that you learned and everything that came along with the sports and basketball, do you think it shaped you to get ready for like your business? Because you need certain characteristics to start a business and to maintain it and to, so do you think that helped you immensely shape you for the future to go
Absolutely.
on another journey? Yeah.
Absolutely. Basically, those three things are my foundation. So
Mm-hmm.
in anything that you do, relationships, like I said, business, work, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
have a foundation. And when we don't have a great foundation, things crumble.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a season, or I'm coming out of a season where I've had things crumble. So that's why I'm able to say these things where it's just like, you have a strong foundation, you can always compound and build on top of that. And, as you add more, it'll be so sturdy that it'll never crumble. Or if it does, that you'll be able to fix yourself easily because you have the lessons that you already learned in order to grow. So, obviously I'm not playing anymore. My whole identity, as you guys can hear, is basketball. I've played basketball my whole life, so that's everything I have. All my friendships and relationships are all through basketball. So not being associated with that and now having the transition, I had to go back to all the things that I remember growing up, and now I'm doing it for myself. I don't have a team, it's just me. So that's also weird too, because sometimes, what I said, Ubuntu, you're doing that for the betterment of the team, but what about the betterment of yourself? Sometimes people don't know how to be selfish. And sometimes selfish comes off like a negative thing, but it's actually a positive thing in certain situations. Actually, in most situations, actually positive. That's what I would say. So I'm learning right now to be a little selfish and be happier for myself in order to build my business so that I can be great. Because my whole thing with my business is, again, I want the next generation to know that if they have their mindset to do something, that they can do it as well. I'm just not the first person to do it, but I'm somebody who's going to give the vulnerable like storyline or the journey, the whole process of what I'm going through. I'm not afraid to show, my failures or my triumphs. So I want everybody to know the full thing so that they can obviously see the beginning to the end and know like, all right, I can do this as well. Like it's not going to be hard, or it will be hard, but somebody else do it, so I can do it too.
Well, your business is your team. You can build your team
Absolutely.
with your
But
business.
starting off by yourself, it does come from like you got to believe in yourself. So believing myself with basketball, I had to turn that into, believing myself with something brand new, something I never really did before. So it was just like, all right, I have to kind of lock in on, who I am, how great that I feel about myself, and then put that into something that people can also resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the word weird. How did you feel like when you graduated? And although you sound still passionate about basketball, but like your focus is more on your business. How was that for you? You mentioned the word weird, but like, how did you feel? What was it like that you didn't have to go to a practice or play on a team? What was that like for you?
That was very tough. I mean, it was COVID time, so like everybody, the whole world was going through a transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world's going through a transition, so not only am I like missing out on family time a little bit, but basketball. I didn't get to finish my year the way I wanted to. I actually got hurt, kind of toward the end of the season. And then our last practice, I hurt myself again. And then at the same time, my coaches come in there and they're like, yeah, season's over. So it's like a shock. Then you go from there to where they're like, all right, you're going to get a couple of weeks off from school and then they're going to get back to school. So now we're back at school at home. And this is my last year of college. So that transition was just very uncomfortable, I'll say. And then now you're working. Or if you want to go overseas, you have to be very strong and confident enough that, again, it's COVID time. So you have to be confident enough that you may not get sick. You can go overseas and things will be okay. It's safe. You're gonna be away from your family. They're dealing with it, so there's a lot of things that were going through my mind. So it was definitely a tough decision, not to continue to play basketball and kind of just pivot basically and go for my plan B. It was tough. That's the word I would say. It was tough.
Do you feel like it was almost a level of grief too, like grieving your identity or loss of identity?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a big loss. I mean, I even told people I was like, I kind of have to just kill my ego at this point because my ego was so tied to putting the basketball in the hoop and being the best this and the best that and being a champion at this. And now I don't have the platform to do it the way I want to. It was definitely a grief. It was like I lost a big part of myself. I was definitely in crisis. I was talking to everybody I could that was just like going through the same situation. Yeah. And you're trying to grasp onto it too. You're trying to hold on as tight as you can, like maybe another opportunity to come. And then you get mad because other kids got opportunities to get their scholarships back from D1 level. So now you're sitting there like, damn, it's not you. So yeah, you miss out on a lot of great experiences, a lot of great relationships, people. And then for us, we had a really good team, like Sam said. We won back to back. So we were gonna in my mind, we were the best team in the country. So like we were gonna go all the way to the national championship. I was very excited for it, and it never got to happen. So it's like the what ifs are in your mind now. So now you're playing with all this stuff. You're like, what if we got the chance to? What if we stuck here? Or what if this never happened? And for me, I was strong enough to just be like, all right, at the end of all of this, bring it all the way back to the beginning. Got to win. I got to make all these people already. I have a great foundation, so now I can move on forward, knowing that I did accomplish a lot of the things that my childhood self wanted to accomplish. First thing is getting a degree. Going to college on a full ride and being a champion. I've won on every level that I've played on. So when you take those things, it's like, all right, well, I did a lot of things that I wanted to, so I'll kind of put myself at ease, and I was like, I'm okay. But it was definitely, it was a lot of mourning during that time.
It's interesting that you say that because UNC in North Carolina has a program for NFL players that help them. Well, first they also go for a brain trauma. That's the main thing because they suffered many concussions and things like that. So they go through that type of medical care. And they also do like now take care of their mental well-being because a lot of them are retired and they're transitioning from fame and money here to now how to manage that money and not spend it all because you're no longer an NFL player and how to live out of the spotlight. And no one ever thinks that this really affects them. And it does. Their whole identity changes.
Yep.
and it's depressing. It's a shock. And I never knew that there was that, until I stumbled upon that program.
It's on every level too. I had a great mentor also. I had a lot of great mentors, but one person I can say is Kevin Span. He's from Long Island. He kind of went through like the same journey that I went through. And at the end, when I was playing and going into my senior year, he was kind of telling me like little things like that. Just like, make sure, what are you going to do next? Like making all these different things. He was somebody who he didn't figure it out right away, but he always just kept a level head and was able to like kind of navigate to the next step. Always had a strong head on him. So it's like everything he did, you know, it was so weird because it was like as I saw his situation and then I got to that situation, I kind of knew where I was gonna go because I saw him and I had like that foundation again, that strength. And like I said, it happened on every level. So just imagine the highest level. Every kid and every person is coming up to you for your autograph. I didn't have that experience, but I had people congratulating me after every game. I had little kids looking up to me, running after me. When I come back home, everybody knows who I am. So now you're not playing anymore. Now there's a new generation, and then think about the next generation after them who don't know who you are at all. So this middle generation knows a little bit about you because their brother, their cousin, their uncle knows a little bit. And so it's like, yeah, Tavon was so good. Tavon was so good. And then you get to this next generation, and it's like, who's Tavon?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're walking around, and you're like, and then you start realizing like how everybody was like. I remember when you was this little kid, and that's me. Now I'm looking at all these little kids, and I'm like, I remember you when you was like a little kid in a stroller, and now you're just like I watch kids grow up too, and get to see that. So, but they don't know who I am. They don't know my situations. That's also tough because now you're hearing it just from people. Luckily, we have recordings of our games. My dad didn't. So my dad, he's hoping that somebody comes out of the woodworks and says, "Your dad was good at basketball." He doesn't have that. It was actually a funny story. Like we actually had Newsday, we had MSG Varsity growing up, so that they would record our games. We had articles and everything. So me and my brother were in a newspaper pretty often, and my dad has like this little box score that he keeps. Funny story because it's like me and my brother got full pages in the newspaper. So it's like you kind of are like a local celebrity, and then that all goes away when you step into your new identity. So now people look at you like, all right, so what are you doing now? Now you're an adult. So what are you doing?
But now this generation has a cloud that they're always going to be there. Like, well, everything's always going to be out there because everything is out there.
I miss a beat at all too.
Uh-huh.
But first, I hope that the people that have the opportunity to do so take advantage of it in the right way, so that when they all come together, that they have something positive to look back on, and not the negative, stupid stuff that you possibly did when you were a kid.
Yeah.
It also sounds like you had a really positive foundation with your family. And I think that in anything in life, we're going to have loss. Things are going to end. Not everything is permanent. And what you're describing sounds just like that. Like basketball has been my whole identity, just like baseball will be for my son.
Yeah.
Whether he plays college ball or not, since he was 4, right? And so it's like, well, I always try to make sure that's all great, but like your family, your friends, you're still you. I still love you for who you are, because I know it could be difficult in the future, right? When your identity is wrapped around that. And I've seen it. But at least, would you say that you had that foundation outside of that? Because that's what it sounds like to me, like with your family, your parents, as far as like just grounding you and just reminding you of who you are outside of basketball.
I would say so for sure. Definitely my mom is probably all the women in my family are my biggest advocates. They love who I am. They treat me like I'm a little kid still. They call me Tay Tay, all this other stuff. Never stops. So I've always had the reminders from my mother, my grandmothers, my aunts, my cousins, everybody. They always looked up to me. And then you have the competition between my dad and my brother, who's better. You compete, but it's like those things always ground you. It's kind of like keep you sane. Because you don't lose touch with it. Even though you're not playing. You still have the memories. They have the memories. They have their own perspectives. So what they saw, how they felt. It's so many great things that come out of the situations that always keep you locked in with your family, no matter what. Even when you're on good terms and bad terms, you always have something that can bring you back to the middle and bring you guys back together. yeah, I've always had a great experience with that. My brother growing up, we were in the backyard. When we first got our court, we didn't have any lines or anything, but we stayed out every single night until midnight. And I remember like there was like a week where it just rained every single day. We didn't care. We were outside soaking in the rain with cones and just playing basketball under the lights every single time. You know, my one of my like working out with my dad in the backyard. It's like those memories are still, always going to be there. And then as you get older, now you have memories of training, traveling. You go to different places and you're still with these people, and it's like, all right, well, I saw you at this age, I saw you grow into this, and I saw you grow into that. So those things always keep us locked in, basically. And again, my family is important to me. Recently we grieved losing my grandmother, but we have those memories with her that bring us even closer together. She was able to be at my last game. She was able to see me grow up as well. My uncle, who's from South Carolina, was able to travel to see me play. So those are always things that keep us close, close, close. And basketball, again, was our sport. So it's like something that we never lose. Even now we watch basketball. It's something that keeps us glued together. So yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And I also see like with men, like your dad's generation, maybe more so, how it was a little harder to kind of express yourself with feelings and whatnot, with how men are socialized. And I know it's changing, and I'm changing it by raising boys and whatnot. But so I think sports is one of the ways like father and sons bonded. Saw it in with my husband and my sons, and it's a beautiful thing because sometimes there are no words, but there's time spent together, practicing, sharing. And I think that, as the emotional intelligence grows, because men are now are being raised to be okay with sharing their feelings or their emotions, but there are other ways to connect, right? And sports is one of them. So I see that a lot with fathers and sons, and it's really a way to connect when sometimes there's no words around other things, right? Would you say?
I definitely agree. I'm the bridge to that in my family. So my dad was somebody who grew up like that. His father was 100% like that. Right now, me and my dad are transitioning into more the vocal aspect of it. We grew up on, just the time, the efforts of, again, my dad worked every single day. And when he came home, he was able to drive me to training. He was able to help me build a court. And now we have that. So like, he used his hands and his time to, show the love that he had and build that relationship. So that's something I always have. And then now as I get older, now I'm 28 years old, so now we have to talk. I'm not playing basketball. So like there's things that we do outside of that. Sports is always involved. We're always watching a sport or playing a sport. I picked up on bowling, so like bowling is something that we'll do, but talking. So definitely getting in touch with his emotions or just asking him what was it like growing up. Actually hearing his aspect on what's going on, his emotion on how he felt when he was a kid, how he felt when he was my age. Those are things that we are starting to work on now. So it's actually beautiful to see, honestly, because again, growing up, you didn't get that. You got the short end. So it's just like, I'm tired. I don't want to talk. But now it's like, hey, what's going on? How you feeling? Those are different questions that you never heard before. How are you feeling? It's like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And he's telling me how he's feeling and what's going on with him. Like he's vocal about it. So it's definitely building a stronger bond between us now.
Yeah, you already had the bond through basketball or through just father son, but now it's just evolving, it sounds like. To the words, and so like, men just being more open and emotionally able to share these moments.
Is more of appreciation on both ends. That's one of the things that we're learning from each other. As a kid, you vocalize, I love you, I love you, I love you, but like actually telling the person or showing the person how you appreciate them and how you saw them growing up. And then now you're on the opposite end, now I'm an adult, I'm growing. So it's like, wow, you taught me this, or you're teaching me this right now. Or again, the emotion aspect, like I said, I'm the bridge of all of that. So like I do have his demeanor, but I also have my mom's emotion where I can tap into both and understand how to vocalize what I'm feeling or where the next person is coming from, having empathy. So, we're it's a constant grind to like something you're working on, but again, it's evolving into something beautiful to where like I feel a lot stronger about, our relationship.
But I always felt like having you as an athlete, you were always very observant too. I think, Tavon would see, because I remember even, you coming to me and asking me, like, I've been watching you and I have a question, I need advice about something. And that I always appreciate for my male athletes, because I don't think they really have anybody to talk to. And so, when they do come, I'll listen and I'll really think about it and take my time giving an answer. But you also observed a lot more, because I know those like 2018, 2019, I was going through it in my personal life. And I think you even were like, were you just crying? And I'm like,
Yeah.
shut up. Or I'd be like, I know I look okay, but there's like a whole tsunami going on inside of me. Cause, and you would call me out. I remember sharing memes with you where I was just like, listen, I feel like I was going through like a whole like ego death myself. And I was like, I feel like the Grim Reaper, like trying to smell flowers, like trying to find life again. And you would always laugh at me and I'd show you memes.
I remember that. That was true though. That was real. It was like, I'm coming in, like you see my smile, I was like this almost every single day. So like I'm coming in, like I'm seeing Sam is somebody, like I loved having Sam as a trainer. She wasn't even like a mom, like a big sister to have on your side. So like she's there for you. She doesn't really care for all the outside stuff. She's just like, I'm here for you whenever you need you, whatever. Having that every single day was great. But then you come in the office and it's like Sam is like,
Yeah.
like, so now you're paying attention. He's like, all right, how you doing? So like that's where I was able to show like that other side of myself. Like, how are you doing? Because I want to know. I want to make sure you're good too. Because I'm happy, but like you're not happy. We need to make sure you're happy. So because Ubuntu was in my mind every single day. So Sam is a part of our team. So if Sam's not happy, then who knows how our team's gonna play or be treated or whatever. How it's gonna rub off to the next person. So everybody need to be on the same page in my mind. So I had to make sure that you were always good as well.
Yeah, no, they would carry my bags. They would make sure.
Like,
But it was
eh,
a mutual thing. I'm over here like his mom, like, how much did you drink last night? And he's like, I'm cramping on the court. And I'm like opening oranges, like feeding him food on the bench. Like, you need to keep playing.
Yep.
I never forget. So during his time, they started drug testing for like street drugs. So of course nobody could smoke weed anymore. So then they all decided to become alcoholics. And
on.
and Tavon could never like finish the last couple of minutes of a game. Not always, but like towards the end of the season. And one day I was like, I think I realized why you keep cramping. I think it's all your alcohol consumption. And he's lying on the table and he goes, are you going to tell me not to drink? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm going to tell you how to drink. And I was like, let's go over this.
I'll be more responsible.
Yeah, I
Right.
was like, we need to be more responsible. I was like, we're going to drink water. We're going to do this. And I was going through everything. I said, I'm not the killer of fun. Like, have your fun.
Yeah.
You're in college. I'm just going to tell you how to have the fun.
Because Sammy did in her college days.
We all went to college together, so we know those sides of ourselves.
You guys, and you couldn't leave that out. You couldn't leave that. Like you're playing basketball, everybody loves to have you guys around. So it's like you got to have a good time, but then you got to do your priorities. So I had to learn balance.
Yeah, Tavon would come in and he was like high energy. He'd be hanging upside down on the pull-up bar. He'd be like running back and forth, and everybody would be like, oh my God. Yeah. He was just hyping everybody up.
Yeah, bring good energy. Got to make sure everybody's good.
Yeah.
That was always my goal. I always wanted everybody to have a good time. Like I said, like I went through a lot, so I always felt like, my aim was to just make sure everybody was happy as much as I could, as best as I could, whatever it was. So if I was the butt of a joke and everybody was happy, I'm happy for it. I was always trying to do something or win somebody over, make them smile in some type of way so that everybody can have a good time. So
yeah. And the conversations in the training room are always interesting.
Hear a lot of great
tell.
A lot of life advice. It's a lot of spilling the tea.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the observer. He knew everything that was going on with everybody else, even me.
Yeah.
The observer.
I try to hide it, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?"
You a
like,
water sign.
I was just gonna say, I knew Melly's thinking. Melly's thinking astrology. I'm thinking astrology. I was like,
I'm gonna say he's a Cancer.
What are
Me?
you?
Yeah.
Oh
Which
no,
are you?
my mom's a Cancer. I'm a Pisces. Mark.
Oh.
There you go. Well, we knew it. We knew it.
When I heard observant, I was like, he's
and
water.
Cancer. Yeah, I know the water sign. He's a water sign.
I love water. Big water guy.
Mm-hmm.
First, one of the stories that I've had, I had a bad injury at my first. So I'm a transfer. I didn't always go to Dominican. I transferred after 3 years. My sophomore year of college, I broke my back. So I had a bad back injury that
Oh my
out
God.
for that year, and then I came back and I tore ligaments in my thumb within 2 weeks of being cleared.
Oh my God. Those are
He
like the
was
worst.
traumatized.
Very much so. Like my mom was somebody who knew right away. She was like, "Yeah, like I was going through it. That was my first time going through depression. Truthfully,
Mhm.
that I was aware of. I was just sitting there in my room, not knowing what I was gonna do, not feeling comfortable in my space, and I didn't notice until after the fact. But she was telling my dad the whole time. She's like, "Yeah, he's gonna want to leave. He's gonna want to leave. He's gonna
The
want."
other school.
Yeah, yep. And she kept telling him, and then the year I got back, he got cleared. I had a good year, and it still wasn't good. It was just didn't feel right. She was like, "Yeah, he's gonna want to leave." And then when I decided to leave, everybody was like, "All right, let's go." Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, "Why is everybody moving so fast? He just told you yesterday." And it's like they already knew because my mom was like, "Yeah, he's gonna want to leave." So once I said it, it was like, "All right." The ball was rolling. It was just like, "All right, we're gonna go, 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 go." So like my mom knows for sure what's going on. Yeah, she
Go where? Another school?
He came to
I
Dominican.
transferred to Dominican, but
Okay, so that he Dominican was second.
second. Right.
Okay, okay.
So because I broke my back, I got an extra year, so I was able to do 2 years at Dominican. And my brother already went there; he graduated, so we already had a relationship with Coach Clan. And after that, it was just like, all right, he's ready, basically, and they just fed me to Dominican, and I was like, all right, I'm coming. So I had one visit, and I was already like ready to go to start my new journey. Yeah,
And it was a good fit too, because they had been looking for certain people and they were really conscious of who they were letting in the team at the time.
yeah,
'Cause they were determined to win. And that particular group of guys, like they were dedicated. They really wanted to win. They were hungry for it the whole time.
guys. Yeah, I mean the team went to the championship back to back years before I got there. So I was already somebody again. I'm a winner, so I want to win. So my whole mindset is like I'm coming here to win. So whatever I got to do, whatever it is, I'm here to win. And Coach Clinton already let me know. All the coaching staff already let me know. I was like, that's what we want to do. That's what we want to hear. So you have the opportunity to be here if you want it. And I took it right there. Like as soon as we walked out of the office, I was like tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, I'm coming. I'll be here next. Yeah, I didn't waste any time.
That's great.
Now, did you break the record or you almost broke the record of highest score?
Almost.
Oh,
So that was one of my favorite experiences of all time. See that is something that plays in my mind off of like talk about grieving. That was so big to me that I was okay. Because I made decisions early on where I wanted to go Division One. I made decisions not to go Division One. I wanted to be close to my family. So that right there, going pro, going to the NBA, gone. You're not. That's not happening. Going pro overseas, COVID comes, gone. That's out of the way. So now there's only time for a plan B. But reflecting on everything, it's like I had my own pro aspect or pro experience, being a Dominican because it was so close, because all my friends, all my family was right there. I got to experience having that love being shown to you on the level that I wanted it to be, but just right here. It was so close knit. It made it that much better. Because now I'm going to my dorm room and the whole hallway is congratulating me on a great game, or area is going doing the same thing, So I never, even though I lost certain things, I also won a lot off the court, being in those situations. Because again, I was working out very hard every single day my senior year. I took the memories from my teammate from the previous year, being consistent every single day. So I spent hours in the gym. And the game before I had my best game, I had 2 points and I fouled out. And it was just like, all right, well, I expected to have a good, consistent year. I started off hot, and that one game, I was like, all right, I'm not going to let it beat me. So next day, worked out hard, got in the gym early, had early workouts, got to the gym early again before the game, worked out again. And then game time came, and I didn't miss until I shot the ball from half court.
See,
It was like our fourth or fifth game into the season, and I finished the game with 38 points. I was like, I think I hit 8 threes in a row before I missed. I didn't miss a shot until the second half, until like 5 minutes left in the game. And
yeah. Everybody was hyper. Oh my
uh,
God. They're like, he's going
friends,
to beat a record. He's going to beat a record.
all
oh
my
my
friends,
God.
like walking on the court, they were screaming. Like it's a small gym, but like it was echoing in there, and it was just like if you felt every aspect of it. And those things allowed me to be like, all right, I won. I didn't need to do anything more. Like I won because I had all those experiences. I have a
Mhm.
video of my dad My dad was holding his head watching the game because he never saw me play like that. Because again, first half I maybe shot maybe I want to say 10. Let's just say I shot 10 shots. I went 10 for 10. Like I didn't miss. Second half, same thing. I'm starting off the whole half. I didn't miss until like my last like 2 or 3 shots. So like everybody's in the gym like, is he ever gonna miss? That's what my dad said. He was like, then I finally missed, and it was like, all right, he's human. She. So yeah, those experiences definitely helped me out a lot because I live with those now. So now I put that into my brand or whoever I'm speaking to. Like when I do training, I tell them about that because that can be them as well. As long as you work out hard, you're consistent. Even with your son playing baseball, it's like I don't know how it is in baseball exactly, but I just know that everybody can have a great performance. So it's all about the work that you put in. So it's just like you take those things and that elevates you or pushes you to the next experience or the next journey that you're gonna have.
So you're wearing this shirt. So I noticed that let me see. Let's see your shirt. That's your line.
Yeah, my clothing brand is just on the left chest and then it's on the back of my shirt. I'll
Yeah,
stand
let's
up.
see. Let's see.
I don't know if you can see the back of my shirt properly.
I see it. Ben Diff Collection. So where did you get that name? Where'd that name come from? Like, how did you come up with that?
That was his slogan all in college.
Well, I've been different.
I've been different.
I've been different.
So it actually came from when I broke my back. So when I broke my back in college, again, I was depressed. I was going through it and I had to figure out who I was right from there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I was ever going to play basketball again. I didn't know if I was going to be able to be as good as I was, as fast as I was, and all it taught me to be patient with myself and to slow down. I had to go to a crawl. I was a snail that year. I didn't move I didn't do a lot. I was just in my head all the time. I was just reflecting. I have a whole bunch of CDs of like all my old games growing up. I started watching. I brought them all to school. I started watching all of them, just replaying all that stuff to bring me back to who I was. And that was something that stuck with me. I was like bringing myself back to who I was. The motto, the message of my brand is know who you are and feel that forever. Watching those games, I got to see like as a young kid, I was a freshman in high school. I had my first 3 games, I had 40, 30, and 30. I got moved up to varsity at the end. I led my team to the championship where we won. We were the last seed, we won, and I went to the state championship and had 30 in the state championship. So I'm a freshman. I just turned 14 years old. I'm doing these things. Those things that are stuck in my head.
Jeez.
8th grade championship, having 56 points. All these different outbursts just through basketball is what kind of glued me to where my name was. So 2017, I put it in my Instagram bio, been different, and I left it there until I was done with college. And my mom, she did fashion growing up. She sewed her prom dress. When she had a picture of herself being pregnant with me in a pink dress, she sewed. She did fashion shows. My grandmother sewed. Both my grandmothers sewed. My mom's like again, she's a genius. She does crafting and things like that. So she's very creative, like outside of sports, obviously. So that's something that always brought me to clothing. I also had my dad's friend who did his own brand. It's called Punch USA. And then another family member, and actually a friend of our family, he did Slow Buck. So I got to watch a lot of people do clothing. I had a friend of mine in middle school, his dad did printing. So he was like, he only wore his name all over his shirts. And I was like, how do you do that? And he was like, my dad did print. And I was like, shoot. So all these things kind of like led me into this next chapter of my life. So basically, been different was in my brand, was in my bio up until COVID. Everybody wanted to start their own business, start their own LLC, and I found myself wanting to go back into doing what I kind of visioned myself doing. Although I was good at basketball, I always felt like my career is going to be short. I never wanted to play too long, but I always wanted to do something for my family. So my name is very important to me. So my last name is Ginyard. That's like the number one thing that's important to me, making sure that name is felt throughout the world. From that, I was just like, all right, so now the time for me to kind of like put this out there. So I did. So I started making shirts in my basement. My mom has a heat press. Again, sewing, finding manufacturers, finding vendors for shirts, pressing, doing pop-up shops, and I was selling out all my pop-up shops. I was doing graphic designing. I was figuring out how to do websites. I was figuring out all these different things on my own, all from 2017, having been different in my logo and breaking my back. So it comes from like a place where I lost myself and found myself, and that's how I know who I am, and I feel that forever. So I'll never lose that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that sticks with me. Again, foundation is something that sticks with me. So like all those things built my foundation to where I can never go back to a place where I was in the dumps like at that time. Like I'll never get back to that place no matter what happens. I'll always be at an elevated. My compound is so big that like I'll start from here now and move
Mm-hmm.
forward, go back. So that's where it started. Since then, I've still had ups and downs because it's a new arena for me. It's not basketball; it's clothing. There's different things. There's money involved now. I never had to pay for basketball, so now I have to pay for all this stuff myself.
Huh?
So different. And then like now you're an adult, so now you're gonna manage finances. And I'm a person who very creative. I'm a dreamer as well. Water.
Yeah.
So all the ebbs and flows of your mind, not just
Mm-hmm.
water. Like constantly, like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. I can tell you right now, I probably have like 60 to 70 designs that are just sitting in my computer ready to go. But it's like, all right, now how I'm gonna execute these things? And there's 3 and 4 or 5 different ways I can execute these things. Now I need a team. Now I want to do this by myself. It's like so many different things that you kind of battle with throughout the time. And just recently, I kind of like again, I had to go back and sit myself down and become a snail again and be patient with myself in order for myself to actually think clear. So now I'm thinking clear. I'm in a time where I like, all right, I have all the experience of starting something and finishing it. Now I have another opportunity to do it again with my business, and now is the time to do so. So that's what I'm doing right now. And this came at the perfect time because, like, I'll reopen my website. Last year, I started in September doing it full time. I put out my first collection and I closed my website for a little bit and I just reopened it again just so because I found something that was able to work for me that can, keep my website open continuously. So that's what I'm doing right now. Again, perfect timing for you guys to invite me here because I've been wanting to talk to people for so long, tell them about my story, and it's like, obviously, this is like, again, for me, God has given me an opportunity to have a platform that I need to, vocalize this so that people can start understanding what the brand stands for and what they stand for because there's still a lot of lost people here that I would like to help them get to their own level. My brand is not about me. Whenever you purchase anything, you get a card, and at the bottom of the card says, "Thank you for supporting you." It's not supporting me; it's supporting you. Because when you're wearing the brand, it's about what it does for you. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody's next steps is not going to look at the person next to them or the person in front of them. It's like everybody has their own story.
Mm-hmm.
When in this, tell it how you feel. Whatever it makes you feel, that's what you should be doing. Not Tavon made this brand. I want to support. No, support you. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Some plays baseball. It's like if he's the best baseball player in his town, I was the best baseball player in my town. I'm wearing this shirt, and that people can resonate with that. Like, yeah, he was, or he worked really hard. You can say it like that. Everybody has different levels of success. And mine is helping other people. It's not about me. It's about helping other people.
And I like what you're saying about how everyone has their own path, because even with the specific view of an athlete, youth athlete, which is really what I know, is like not every kid is dreaming to be in the MLB or in the NBA. Not every kid wants to go to college, to do college ball, but some do, right?
Mhm.
So I think what happens is we need to normalize kind of really asking the kid, what do you want? Because sometimes you have parents or you have expectations. Sometimes the
Yeah.
travel game has really taken another level where like these kids are doing. My son right now is at conditioning or workout. I don't know the hell he's in one of them. And then he has practice, and you know what I mean? And I love it for him because it's his therapy, he lost his dad. So now this is his therapy, and I have a great team. I'm very lucky, great parents. And I think that, all that is great. But my other son wasn't aspiring to do college ball. He's going to college for a different reason. And so I think that we really need to just really remind parents and people and kids that what do you want to do? You want to play for fun, play for fun. Like we should make that happen. You want to have a goal. I'm not going to crush your goal. If you really want to go all the way, let's try. Let's see what happens. Like I think that that's very important to mention with youth sports, especially because
Absolutely.
sometimes with travel, it can go a different direction and it's wonderful, but not every kid wants that level of, and
Maybe
sometimes parents can get
no. I mean,
Me too, because I maybe I should shut up about Joshua
No, no,
being
no,
the
no, no,
next
no, no, no.
ever.
He's the kid. No, he's the kid you need to support with that. But there are other kids who are like, I just want to play in high school and I want to be a doctor. You know what I mean? Like it's just we need to normalize whatever it is that they
Yeah,
want.
because I keep telling her son Joshua, I said, "You're going to be the next Devers in the MLB. I know it."
and
Yeah,
he
it's
has
on his dad's side. So
that pressure.
there's a few. There's a few. So it's not far fetched. But
Yeah.
he's got the passion and I'm gonna support him all the way. But I always say I'm just mom. So I don't care where you end up. I'm just gonna be there whether it's in like 14U, because that's what he's playing now, or whether you are playing college ball at whatever college, Division 1 or not, or whether you're in the actually make the MLB or whatever. I'm gonna be. I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
if you strike out. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm more about the life lessons and supporting you. And I'm just proud that you have. I'm just happy that he has a passion because he's been through a lot lately, and I'm just happy that he has a passion. People say, "Oh my God, thank God my kid's not into travel." I'm like, well, I'm actually very grateful that my son's into travel because it gives him purpose, it gives him passion, it gives him he loves it. And the sacrifices are real, but they're worth it, in my opinion. And you just have to plan your vacations around certain times of year. And yeah, it's a big commitment. But I'm like 110%. Like to know that your son or your child is passionate about something is a gift. And not every parent can say that, you know? So,
I definitely had that with my dad. So like me and my brother, total opposites. Where I wanted the limelight, my brother was done with it. So my wanted us
yeah.
to both play basketball, and I think my brother's junior or senior year, he came in the backyard. We were working out, and my dad was like, why you don't want to work out? What's wrong?" And he's like, "Dad, I don't want to play basketball no more." And I was like, my goodness, like my expectation of my brother, I was like, "You gotta go, you have to go." And then he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do it no more." So he wanted to do his own thing, and he's done great. He has a great life outside of basketball. Me, I want to play basketball every single day. I was like, I gotta play, I gotta play. And even now, like, this clothing is not my basketball. So it's like, it's something that I dove 100% into. And then you go, you're training. And not only do I wanted to say, like, parents, also other parents compete with each other for their kid to be the best. And then, like, not even realizing that their kid don't even want to play. They're
Oh,
just,
yeah. I see
yeah,
it all the time. That's why
yeah,
I said what I said. I said,
yeah,
just ask your kid what they want to do or not do. Because you didn't play Little League, because you didn't play basketball doesn't mean that they have to.
yeah.
So that's the thing.
I was gonna say I saw a lot of parents that were just like, push kids and their kids are sad. I'm like, hey, you're good, man. It's all right. It's gonna be okay because like I can tell he's gonna do something totally different outside of this. He doesn't want to do this, or the expectation to be like another person that you don't even want to be like. Like people, I started to realize like younger, like people already had their identity and they just wanted to be themselves, and they were being pushed at a certain time in their life to be like somebody else, and they didn't want to be. So it was like that was a big eye opener too. Yeah.
So tell if you can give advice looking back at your high school career or even younger years as an athlete. What
Mhm.
would you say to my son who's 13, 14, girl or boy, who are into a sport? What advice would you give them who have the passion for it? What would you say?
I First thing I would do is I would watch the sport because a lot of kids don't actually watch the sport.
No, no, mine does.
No,
I'm like, don't you get enough?
yeah,
You just
but
came
like,
from doubleheader. You want to watch a Yankee game? But yeah,
yeah,
no, you're
but
right.
like watching it and understanding what is like being shown to you, because a lot of things that I saw or that I thought I saw was like the flashiness as a young kid. I thought it was like all about flashiness and like that. And as I got older, it was like, no, it's about the simplicity of the game. It's being very simple and to the point, and consistent with all those things. So it's the little things. It's like for me, holding your follow through in basketball, or being low on your dribble, spreading your fingers at times, and just effort. So that was something that I missed out on because I was just like, I saw my brother, he was good at this. I followed him. That's cool. I saw this guy do this move. I picked it up. I was good. All right. I was already better than a lot of people, but like it made me that much better as I got older to just like kind of simplify everything and kind of like sit myself down. Actually, breaking my back was actually a blessing because if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be as smart as I was at the sport, or humble, because I was more humble. I was humble then, but I'm more humble now because I had to slow all the way down. Even like people thought I was fast then at Dominican, but I was actually a lot faster. So I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do. So it was just like my mind kind of caught up with my body, and I was able to kind of like be on the same pace with everything. So then, as I got older too, I started paying attention to watching the sport. I started watching the NBA differently. I started watching sets. I started watching pick and rolls. I started watching college basketball, their effort. What every piece did, in order to make the team better. I started watching all those things. And then, if you love it that much, I would just say don't stop for anybody, because a lot of people they stop because they're watching the next person. Don't be like the next person. Just be yourself, and the right opportunity is going to come for you. I was somebody, even though I was good, I was always looking around trying to see what this person had, and it was like, yours is gonna come. And mine came later on than I expected. Mine came when I was in college. So my opportunity came to go transfer to another school in order to get what I wanted you know um I was still paying attention to the outside and listening to people glorify me and what everybody else thought I should be doing. The one thing I did do that was for myself was stay close to my family. So I prioritized that, and I went Division 2 for that reason, because I was in between my parents and my grandmother, who was in Queens. And then when I got to that opportunity, things didn't work out, and I got to go to Dominican, where it gave me everything that I needed. It made my basketball career whole. That was it for me. So it's really just about, for me, making sure you know what you're going to do, and then completing into and going all the way into it until completion and not stopping. Because once you stop, it's hard to get back on that bike. You fall off, you keep falling, you get back up, and you keep pedaling, you keep pedaling, you keep pedaling until it's done, until you get to your destination. So I've reached my destination multiple times. Destination for basketball is winning a championship. I've won a lot. So I'm kind of tired of winning. So I'm moving on to the next thing.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Great.
Well, I appreciate your insight as a travel baseball mom of an athlete. And I just love hearing your story and hearing how, you are also very grounded, I could
Very.
tell. And yeah, had a great, family really helping you, but just being there for you, reminding you that you're who you are. You're not, only a basketball player. However, as at the same time, supporting your passion and supporting
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And you definitely can be a
Thank you.
mentor to others.
I thank you for that. I appreciate. Recently I've heard that a lot, actually. So like,
Mhm.
I definitely appreciate that, because that's something like I said, I want to do that. I want to get back into training. Getting in front of the camera and putting my brand out there is another resource for me to kind of do that. That's what I want to do. Somebody also watches Myron Golden. So like a lot of people that just speak, like people who he has, I think he had, I want to say lupus. I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but you look at him and he looks fit and everything like that, but his walk shows you a different thing. He walks a little funny, and it's like you're watching him and you're like, oh shoot. And some people will write him off, like, oh, I'm not gonna die,
It
but
can be painful.
yeah, and he's very knowledgeable about a lot
Mhm.
of things. And just because you fall early doesn't mean that you can't get back up and be the next spokesperson for something. A lot of people that we watch now all fell when they were younger. Tyler Perry was homeless, and now he owns one of the biggest studios in the world. Um, so you see, like you have so many people that have great stories. Robert Downey Jr., who was jail, now he's Iron Man. It's
Yeah,
like,
I love him too.
wow. It's never too late to start over. Like I said, I'm 28. I thought I would have my life figured out by now. I have things figured out, but I'm not at the destination of where I want to be. And again, that you can pivot and do something totally different and have the same outcome. So it's never too late. Um,
Mm,
so
You have
that's
so much time ahead of you. You're still so young, so you have a
yeah.
lot of
I
time.
hate hearing that growing up. Like, you're so young. Like, no, I know so much, but it's like, dang,
Meaning you have a lot of time to continue
yeah.
finding what destination you want to get to and continue on that path and journey because you still have a lot of time.
Only other advice would to watch the people who are in front of him and like become their and befriend them. That's something I did as well. I mean, I was fortunate. My brother was older than me, so I'm watching guys who are 5 years older than me. I'm working out, playing against them. That makes you better instantly. Just because they have little things that they do for their game, and it makes them a lot better. Their own rituals that you can probably take a little bit from and add it to your game. So those are always things that I would say to the younger generation as well. Again, I had a mentor who, I think he's about 38 now. So that is 10 years older than me. And my brother who's 5 years older than me. So I had a wide range of people I got to see and pick and choose from. So because he's a freshman, again, when I was a freshman, I was able to have my brother. He was in college. I moved up to varsity, and I was able to like watch him, watch their team play, and get my own kind of gauge on what I wanted to do. And I was able to outperform a lot of people at a freshman level. Like again, I was 14 years old, and my coach made me a starter. I had a 14-year-old kid, and people didn't like me. But I didn't care. It was like, I wanted to be the best for my team. So if he thought I was going to be the best opportunity to do so, he did his job, and I made sure that he looked good for it. We won a championship.
I think the last thing I would ask is, just because I know that, and just listening to you talk and it's inspiring and being that mentor aspect, I think there's always, because I've been an athletic trainer for a long time. So there's been like generationally, there's themes. Mm-hmm. And these athletes currently, these post-COVID athletes, I'll put them in that category, are disconnected. Mm-hmm. And they don't know mentally how to play the game still with the amount of pressure. Like they can't handle the pressure and the game.
Yeah.
Do you see that too?
Absolutely.
Like I feel like a lot of the coaches are like, oh, we're coaching emotions now. We're not coaching athletes.
Yeah.
And, or they'll use mental health as an excuse to get out of stuff or things like that. And there's a balance. And me, I'm an observer too. So I always tune into the athletes, and I have athletes that come in with fake injuries all the time. And I always have that where I know they're faking it because they just want attention. Like it's very real for them. But then I'll start engaging and asking questions, and I entertain the BS because I know that that's what they need. And so as an athletic trainer, I'm always, what do they need? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it mental? But now it's like so much where they can't handle the pressure. Yeah. And they don't know how to speak. They don't know how to express themselves. Very disconnected physically, I think.
Again, my generation was definitely a blessing because I'm in a generation where we grew up outside and then we were inside playing video games. So I had both worlds. I had mentors, and I had people who were under me that I got to mentor early on. So like I was always in the middle balancing everything. Again, going to my senior year, I had guys who went to the championship and, went to go play pro. And then I had guys who were coming up under me that were watching me and like, Tavon, you're the greatest. So it's like, I was always in the middle, so I was always able to be grounded in a certain way. And I think the part that they're missing is that grounding because social media plays such a big part in what basketball or sports is today, life is today. So like you're not even people that they're not playing for like people who are in front of them. They're playing for the people in the next state over, or all these different people that they don't even get to see. But they're hoping to get likes, or they're hoping to get the attention to go a different direction, or this is going to boost me or make me feel like this and this and this. But we're doing this all day and not talking to the people that are around us. And that's what's missing a lot in our sport, or in sports in general, or in just people in life in general.
Life, yeah.
Life in general, because like through work experiences, I've met people who are older and younger than me who can't talk. They just don't know how to talk. And it's like, wow, I'm fortunate enough to find my voice to talk. So like, yeah, there was times where, I'm just bothering Sam because I'm just like, all right, whatever. And it's like, now I'm serious. Now I'm like, hey, Sam, I need you. Like, I really need you. Like, I was able to like kind of navigate both ends. I just think that I try to do this as well. Like, mental health is very something that I learned is very important. I say especially for men because we didn't talk. Women have each other. They're very close knit. Men don't really have that often. So when you find that, it's a beauty.
And I know I've played that role for many guys, even on your team.
For myself,
they're in my office and everybody's trying to cheer them up and everybody's like, oh, man up, or oh, it's going to be okay. And everybody's kind of being sympathetic. And they're coming to my office and I'm like, you can cry now. You can let, and they'd be in my office crying and I'd just be holding their hand or giving them a hug. And I'm like, it's okay. Like they just need somebody to witness them or just hear them out. And they don't have that because there's all this limelight on them and they don't want people to see the vulnerable side of them.
Yeah, I had that. So I love saying that I'm the bridge because last year, I was able to help out with the team a little bit. And my first experience being there was the emotion. And I'm like, this kid is really good at basketball, but he's very emotional. And this kid he had an injury early on and he wasn't getting the playing time that he wanted. He was still hurting and, his mental was just gone because he couldn't ground himself. And he went to the locker room and he was upset and he was shaking in his hands. And I'm just sitting and looking at him like, what's wrong? Just talk. Like, it's okay. Just talk. Just talk. He's like, I can't. And I'm like, just talk. What's bothering you? And he just started crying. And this kid, I'm smiling now because it was a great experience for me. He's 6'5", and I'm over here like, come here. And I'm 5'9", holding the kid, and I'm like holding on to him. And I'm like, it's gonna be okay. And he ended up having a good year at the end of the year because of like he was able to let that out, be vulnerable. The next couple of weeks, he had a great time in practice. He got moved up to his position. Like he was able to release that emotion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are holding on to a lot of, even myself, like I've held on to a lot of emotion. A lot of people do it. And we wait to the worst time possible to let it out. And it ends up, taking away from everything that we built ourselves up to be. So like I was able to like kind of give him like a safe space, to let that out. And he ended up, releasing all of that and moving on to be better. And hopefully next year he has a really good year. But like that's something that we all need is those safe spaces. I say it a lot for men because I don't see it often. So I have to be the person that does that for everybody. Like he has you heard, like I was always trying to be happy.
Sometimes they just need the permission. I think guys in general are told to shut down over and over, and then like I'll come in and be like, "You can cry," like you're giving them permission to just like let it out,
Yeah,
and they don't think they can or they're supposed to.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who don't care. I cry at everything. Rules. Me and my mama cry during movies. I'm joking.
That's your water sign.
That's your water sign for sure. Well, and I think you're right. I don't think we boys or men have enough. I think it's changing for the better, but I don't think you have enough safe spaces because there are still systems like sports or, the military or whatever, that kind of carry that men need to be tough and rough and all that stuff. And so, you're not really feeling safe to do that in front of certain people. And so, I mean, again, it's changing. Thankfully, you had Sam and I think that boys and men are just starting to be there for each other a little more. Yeah. And I see it, but, I could do my job as a mom. I'm a boy mom, like your mom did with you, and create that safe space. And then they go out and someone accuses them of being soft. You know what I mean? Like the society is we're still working on it, but
I've heard it before. I've always been in touch with my emotions. You're hearing the word sensitive or soft or whatever it is. I just know who I am. That's another reason why that's my
because
brand.
it's not. I mean, I think what we need to clarify is that it's not. It's the myth out there that, historically we've put on board.
More people like you, actually.
You got to redefine it and make it what it is for you.
Redefine it, yeah.
And I think for men, their strength is in their vulnerability. Like for me, when I see a man that hugs and that, like Melissa's husband was one of those, like he influenced so many people, and it was great that their boys got to see how influential he was, and was there for each other. I mean, and even for me, like my husband was there for her husband, in his final days. My husband would come home, and I don't think he's ever experienced that. And it shook him, but he was able to talk about it. But he was also able to be there for another man in a way he never thought he ever would be. So, I love that men are being more vulnerable and speaking more, because I think that's part of their strength and that's part of their leadership.
And also one last thing before we go, I know that a shout out to my son's batting coach because he's huge on mindset and anxiety and all that in the game, right? In any sport, but I mean, specifically in our case, baseball. And, when someone's in a slump, it's, baseball's a lot of, I don't like the word failure, but there's a lot of just failure or feeling defeated, and that's huge for the boys that my son plays with. That's what they're learning. They're learning adversity. They're learning like, man, I worked really hard, but yet I struck out and whatnot. And it happens. Statistically, it's going to happen. And so I think that, sometimes a kid will get in a slump and they'll get so, all right.
Melly's fly is back. He missed you.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I thought that was ice cream.
Look at Sam. Sam's dying. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Oh, that's hilarious. No,
I it landed on your hat.
All right. So going back. So yeah, so you can teach all the techniques as a coach, as all that, but the mindset has been missed. And now I'm seeing the mindset is so important. And this guy in particular that I'm thinking of, just because that's our experience, because he went through it and his son went through it, he is big on that. So when a kid goes to him for batting lessons, he doesn't just teach them positions and movement. He gets into their head if he sees with them, teaching them how to deal with that. feeling defeated because now they're on the field, they're like, oh, I'm in a slump and I'm not doing good. And it just gets worse. So he focuses on the mindset and the anxiety and like, builds them up. And I think it's just wonderful. That's something that it's not just technique, right? We know it's way more than that.
It's everything. It's you being on his side. It's having your coach on your side, and that's another foundation that you have. It's like, all right, I have that trust in other people. Have the trust in me. So I can believe in myself that much more, even though I'm in a slump right now. I went through it in basketball. Like there was times in the middle of the season. You go home for Thanksgiving, you come back, your stomach is hurting and everything, like, because you ate so good, and now you're not who you were before. Or it's winter time, and it's just you and the team, and maybe you might slack off, or you don't slack off and you're still not playing good. That's another thing. You work so hard and you can still fall into a slump. It just happens. It's the ebbs and flows of the game. So it's like, it's just understanding that it's going to happen. When I was a freshman, my coach told me, he was just like, next play. I used to get so mad because like my shots, I was working out so much that my shots would go in and out, in and out, in and out. And I would be like, there's nothing I could do. And he's like, yeah, there's nothing you could do. Next play. And I had to drill that into my head. It was just like, next play, next play. So for your son, it's like next at bat. You keep doing the right things, eventually you're going to hit again. And once you hit again, now you know, all right, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just I missed. Right? I missed. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Tavon.
I appreciate you guys as well. I appreciate you, Sam, for thinking of me, and I appreciate you guys' time as well. I really enjoyed this, actually. It's something I want to do for myself moving forward. So this actually gave me the confidence to actually push through and do it. I've been talking about it all day, actually.
And you are amazing
Thank
Yes.
you.
person.
You were the right pick.
I appreciate. Sam used to make fun of me too. She was like, Tavon trying to be my favorite. I was like, hopefully it works out. And now look at me.
And you could say, like, see, I'm Sam's favorite. None of you are on her podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. You guys take care.